Religion, as we all know, is a touchy subject. From it stems a myriad of practices and modern-day habits. More than a religion, a way of life, an oath, blindly trusting in something. And I'm not trying to disrespect anyone and their beliefs. Everyone is entitled to have faith. But when does faith become a poison? When should we start questioning beliefs? Should we blindly believe everything we're told? How do I choose where to place my faith, and who or in what to believe in? When does faith fail us?
September 21st, 1987. It's been 1 year since I first went inside that house. I have to finish what I started. What I am about to do has not been approved by the Vatican.
Faith, the Unholy Trinity, is a game about blind faith. In Chapter 1, you play as a priest named John Ward of Palmyra, a priest with a defined goal, to finish something he started. Along the way, you find a strange demon. You exorcise a handful of items and locations: a well, a gravestone, a dead tree. Doing so drops you pieces of lore, tellings of the past, of the family that lives here, in the forest, of the family you failed. That's why you're here, to make things right. Finally, a familiar place. A year has come and gone, but you're still hung up on the fact that this one job didn't pan out. You explore the empty shell of a home, the past lives that once filled these halls, the children that played with these toys, the young girl that sat at this desk. You keep searching. In the basement, you find accounts of the past and signs of a supernatural struggle. And then, finally, peace of mind. You were able to exorcise that poor girl. She, her family, will be at peace. Killing her in the name of God, you leave. Even though the first chapter is technically finished, I feel like it's set up more to be an intro to the rest of the game, instead of being a first level. You see, after getting the ending, you're presented with a news article of a man named John Ward of Palmyra, who was arrested after killing a young 17-year-old girl that escaped from a psychiatric institute. But that can't be true. You saw her deform. You were called to this house to do a job by the Vatican. Oh. But what about the white demon you came across? The clear signs of supernatural presence. The fact that you've been here before. In the notes it says that. The notes. Why would there be notes from yourself recounting the events left in the house? If you go through the game once more, there are a total of 5 endings, just for the first chapter. One we already saw. You exorcise the daughter of the massacred family after you failed to save them a year prior, then proceed to take her life. 2. You find a shed in the woods. Near the shed, a stranger who you can kill. 3. You decide to hunt game instead of supernatural adversaries, taking home a trophy. 4. You find a ritual ground, and for some reason you decide to shoot the animal offering, a dead fox, even though it brings no benefit to you. 5. You don't shoot anyone, instead you defend yourself from the white one. All different scenarios with different consequences. Getting arrested for murder, eaten for wasting your ammo on a stranger, mauled for poaching wildlife, being offered as a sacrifice. As a player, you might think that they're just amusing alternatives, like the dog or UFO endings in Silent Hill 2. Alternate endings to the one where John rides home peacefully, with his faith strong and his morale intact. But there's a possibility where all these endings exist in the same universe, that even though you leave the forest without a scratch, there are still red hoods looming in the forest, a still 17-year-old girl buried in trees, a stranger wandering the abandoned house. If we read the notes that have been riddled throughout the chapter, you make some interesting discoveries. A God-fearing family that lives in the middle of the forest. Twin boys who just turned 6 who came home one day with blood on their hands. A husband that is rarely home due to work. A mother who's afraid of her own daughter. The notes, they tell a different story. A story of the Martin family, a family that lives in the woods. Amy, the eldest of the children, would like to start attending public school. After being homeschooled her whole life, she's been getting cabin fever. So she started volunteering at the local clinic. But she's been doing something at the clinic, or rather, the clinic has been doing something to her that her parents don't approve of. She's clearly an adult though, at 17. Her mother is just overprotective. She's been stressed raising 3 kids, her husband stationed in a foreign country, on edge, planning the twins' birthday party, hearing weird voices outside her house, receiving strange visitors in the wood. Her husband recently discovered gravestones with weird engravings on her property. Close by lie ruins that were used for who knows what. Not to mention the twins lose themselves playing in the woods. They touch things they're not supposed to, so they should just stay inside and draw some pictures. Amy hasn't been herself lately. She acts strangely. Maybe it's because her favorite tree is dying, or because of the strange baby doll she received on her birthday. Anyway, it's gotten to her. The way I see it, the clinic and the Red Hoods are one and the same. The stranger being part of the cult, the animals a sacrifice. It seems like Amy started to act differently ever since her involvement with them. They are the ones that have been rummaging in the woods. They gather, they congregate, making sacrifices, practicing certain crafts. They were even caught by one of the twins once. When you read the letter Amy receives from the clinic after ending 5, if you wait long enough, you start to hear certain chantings. In my opinion, this is undeniable proof that the clinic and the Red Hood cult are one and the same. So you're probably thinking, Indigo, that's all good and all, but what does that have to do with questioning faith, with the whole intro of this video? And to that I answer, it's all fake. Probably. The game is intentionally vague about its lore, and in chapters 2 and 3 we get information that could answer this dilemma. But I'm not about to spoil the rest of the game. I wouldn't dare snatch that away from you. John Ward is the reason why you're not really sure whether everything that happened was real or not. Again, the news article after the first ending states that the girl that was killed escaped from a mental institution, not someone who was lost for a year after their whole family was massacred. And ending 2, you are the one to get killed by the white one. But then in ending 5, when you kill it turned out to be a strange animal and not a demon at all. In ending 3, you get mauled by deer, which seems odd because in a forest full of supernatural beings and red hoods, it's weird that deer would not only kill you, but drag you several yards before killing you. And in ending 5, you fulfill your duty, and in the off chance everything is real, well, you happen to leave Amy alone in the forest. Everything is in question, not just because of all these inconsistencies between something paranormal and something psychological, but because John also finds notes written by himself narrating what happened a year ago according to him. Like if it were an internal monologue he was repeating to himself. Also, once you beat the secret boss in the first chapter, that I will not spoil, you receive a letter that John wrote a year prior to a psychiatrist, accepting that what happened at the Martin house was not something supernatural, but a violent outburst from Amy towards her religious and dogmatic hermit-like parents. So the reason why I believe faith is questioned in this game is less because of how vague the information offered is, and more aligned with the idea that if it all was just a making of John's psyche, then his faith was never of value to begin with. If faith is misplaced, does that mean that it failed us? If Amy's parents were actually extreme dogmatics, their suspicions of the clinic might have been unwarranted. The strangers might have been just stranded hikers. The voices of the night just a paranoia. But at the end of the day,
I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. I shall not be afraid of the terror in the night, nor the evil that walketh in darkness. Because I have made the Lord my refuge. Because I have set my love upon Him, therefore will He deliver me. I shall call upon Him and He will answer me. He will be with me in trouble. He will deliver me and honor me. I can't explain what happened at that house. I can only have faith that I did the right thing.